Hey, welcome back. So, I've got to spend my stash of so's. Okay, this chord was first, so we said the notes are B, G, B, and D. That's the root note, then the major third, and then the five. So let's move to, if I take this chord and I take the bottom strings, two bottom strings off, and I just play this. I play the first three strings. Let's see what I get. I get a G on the E string, a D on the B string, and a G again on the third string. So I'm not really getting a 1-3-5 here, but I can also do this. Now I'm getting a 1 and a 3 and a 1 again, which is G, B, G. So there's a little variation here. I learned this from a long time ago from one of the Guns N' Roses songs, I believe. It's, you know, this one, Paradise City, yeah. So that was my first discovery that you can actually play the G chord not only like this, like with the open B string, but you can play it with the third finger on the third fret of the B string right over here, and it sounds much fuller to me. But since this is not like, it's not really an inversion of a chord, and when I say inversion, I don't think that, for an inversion, yeah, you need to have all three notes, the G and the B and the D, present in any, how do you say it? Fuck it. In any order, yeah. Not my native language, I tell you, English. Okay, so in this example, I have, like I said, G, B, and G. So I'm going to use for my first possible inversion, I'm going to use an extraction of this chord, which is the big bar chord of the G chord on the third string. And when you lose these guys and you lose this guy, you are left with a major third on the, which is a B note on the G string, fourth fret, sounding very nicely here, and D and G. So now we have B, D, and G. And what's funny is, like, you would expect that this inversion would have a B note, a G note at the bottom, yet it still has it has a B note here, and a D and a G. So we are according to the rule, and yet it's still a G chord. And I guess I'll be spending some time later to explain why this could also be a B something. It could be a B. It could be a B something chord. But this is a G chord. Okay? So this is the first inversion. And you write that down. You just write down 4, 3, 3. And and before that, if you want, you can write down 0, 0, 3. We're talking about first three strings again. Or 0, 3, 3. But I'll take this one as the first one. The next one is actually a D shape on the 7th and the 8th fret. So I'm using the D shape, which is located right over here. And I just slide it up because when I look at it, the root note is on the second string. This is the D note. B, C, D. And I just slide that motherfucker up here to the G note. And you can count it. I mean, you can just go B, C, that's a natural semi-step or a half tone, and then C sharp, and then D, D sharp, E, F, another natural half step, and then F sharp, and then we have G here, right? So you have a D-shaped chord, which is now playing a G chord, which, if you remember, was this inversion. This was the next inversion, yeah. So this is it. Wow, I'm already improvising. Okay, so you write that down. This is 7, 8, 7. Okay, and then we move on to the A shape. And after, like, what am I? I'm 36 right now, and I started playing when I was 8. I won't even try to do the math, but after all these years, I still find it hard, even when I played here in the C position. I find it hard to cram these fingers together, so I just cheat my way through it. I use the top voice, but in this case we will actually use the top voice. We will not be playing the A string, we will not be playing the D string over here. So out of all these notes, out of all these trees, I would have to say, we actually from this forest we shall remove a couple of trees, so we are left with these three notes. God, that was a terrible fucking analogy. It worked better in the afternoon than now. Well, never mind. Okay, so this is an A-shaped chord again, going way up over here, 10th fret, index finger, and then the rest of these guys are crammed in like this. And then all I do is, like, I see what I have on my first, second, and third string, which is 10, 12, 12, which is actually D, B, and G. And here we have the G note, and it is the lowest note in the... Oh God, what is the name? It's a tritone, right? Yeah, I guess. Okay. So, to recap. Second position, and third position, and beyond the 12th fret everything repeats, which is basically, this is an octave. Yep. So when you write this down and you write the order of the notes down, then you realize that here we had B, D, and G. Here we have D, G, and B. So once on the bottom now turns out to be on the top here, the B note. I'm talking about the B note. And then the next inversion is G, B, and D. So D was on the bottom and it ended up in this inversion, ended up on the top. So basically you get an arpeggio on all three strings when you look at it horizontally, which I will do so right now, which is G, B, and D. This was the top voice. Then we had, as you remember, we have D, G, and B over here. So listen to the way it sounds, the first string. And then we had B, D, and G. So much for this lesson, and in the next lesson I'll be talking about the C chord, the fourth chord. Thank you very much and stay tuned. Bye.